Welcome to the Genius Way Show with your host, Ben Hummel. The aim of this show is to provide education, encouragement, and insights for people who are on their own personal development journeys. As a psychotherapist, teacher, author, and creator of the Genius Way process, Ben will focus on identifying common challenges to living a purposeful life, and will share valuable psychological and spiritual tools to help you make healthy and empowering life changes. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey friends, welcome to the Genius Way Show. I'm your host, Ben Hummel. It's great to be here with you this week, and I'm looking forward to getting into a discussion about how to find your own path. And so that idea is fraught with lots of different metaphors, experiences, ideas from the past. But hopefully today I'm going to be able to kind of share something with you that'll help you see this in a new light and really kind of understand a little bit more about what that means to find your own path, So I want to start out with a quote by Joseph Campbell. And what Joseph says is about your path. It says, "If you can see your path laid out in front of you step by step, you know it's not your path. Your own path you make with every step you take. That's why it's your path." So, Joseph Campbell has always said, if you can see the path in front of you, it's probably somebody else's. You might have heard that one. And so what the heck does that mean anyway? Why can't you have a path laid out in front of you? Well, being in this world, I'm sure you've learned by now, you've seen by now, everybody's kind of making it up as they go. We go through our lives, we go through our experiences, and we get a lot of stuff thrown at us, and we have to either react or respond to it depending on, how centered we are, or how, kind of conscious we are in any moment, right? So as we walk, we're following, or we are kind of creating a new path. We're forging ahead in a certain way. And that's why when people find themselves stuck in cycles and stuck in ruts, is because they've been following the same kind of circular path of kind of stimulus and reaction, depending on what's happening with your life, But the path that I'm talking about here is the path of living your destiny, living out your, what you're meant to live into. I think that's what Joseph Campbell's talking about too. It's not just the mundane, what am I doing for work and what am I doing with my relationships? It's more like, why are you here? What makes you tick? Why did existence see fit to have you be here at this time? And so the path in this way is like, what is my path that I'm walking, that I'm actually my authentic self, that I am who I am at my core, not just a person reacting to whatever stimulus is being thrown at them. So to make this kind of path, lots of people follow different religions for a model. How should I behave? How can I move through? And that's cool. So people, follow different teachings, different systems. The Genius Way is kind of a system. And, but in terms of that, I tried to make the Genius Way more about not a path that you should follow, but a way to find your own path using tools to find your own genius. So here's the trick. When you, like Joseph Campbell was saying, when you're looking in front of you, there is no path, and you make your path with every step. So picture yourself walking through either a field of fresh grass, kind of wet grass, or a field of snow. You've probably done either of those things or both. Every time you make a step, you're either bending down the grass or you are making an imprint in the snow. And after a while, you can walk through it, but you're kind of forging a new step with every step you take. You're forging part of the path, okay? And so within you, there is something that is giving you that direction to walk across the yard or through the field or through the woods to grandmother's house, whatever it is, there's something motivating you to go in whatever direction you're going. For genius, we use our genius as the compass. So there might not be a path in front of you, like through the woods or through that snow or through the grass, but the thing that motivates you to walk through it is your genius, right? So this kind of authentic path has part of it as your compass being your genius. Like, in other words, your genius is pointing you in a certain direction. And even though there's no path, there is a direction. And as you follow that direction given by the compass of your genius, which is your inborn talents, skills, callings, your drive to express yourself, you're going to create a path of authenticity moving through the world. Okay? The difference is, let's say you're following the path of some certain teaching, right? That teaching was put out there by another person following their genius path, their authentic path. And even though there are some guidelines about your own path and so forth, it's not yours. So even if you're using a model, like a faith or a teaching or a system, you still have to refer to your own compass, your own genius, to know which direction to go using those tools and guidelines. Hope that makes sense. So it's not a problem that there is no path laid out in front of us. We don't need it. We will create a path by listening to our genius as the direction that we're going in, right? So the trick is, how do I get in touch with my genius? And that's why we're here. That's why we're here on the Genius Way Show. How do I get in touch with my genius, which is this sense of direction and purpose and something that makes my life feel fulfilling and open and new and rich. Okay, so that's the whole point here. So, as you're looking for your path and your way through the world, the last thing you want to do usually is to look within, because it seems like that's the opposite direction that you need to go. But in order to know where your path is, you have to first find your direction. Okay, so it's weird. I have to first find my direction, which is my compass, which is my genius, which is my authentic self. So when you think about it this way, what then is the use of any system or, kind of framework of finding your own way? What's the use of it? So I have to refer to another quote that, I don't even know where this quote comes from, but I just love it. And if any of you guys know, send me an email. Let me know if you know where this comes from, because I can't find it. It's a quote that says, "Someone showed it to me, and I found it all by myself." So on the outside, that seems like a contradiction, right? But it's not, because the value of having a system or having some kind of way to approach your own growth is the person showing it to you. Okay, this is how you do it. For example, you can do things this way. You can look at the situation this way, for example. And so that part gets shown. But walking the path has to be done by you. Walking the path of awakening or personal development or self-awareness, it has to be done by you. So that's the part of, someone showed it to me, but I found it all by myself. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what system or tools you use to find more about yourself. What matters is that you're doing the walking. You're the one forging through. You're the one creating the path that you yourself are on, right? And for some reason, it has to, it's set up that we have this exercise to do as humans. The path starts from within us and it ends up within us as well. It ends up meaning we know more about ourselves. We are able to, kind of walk through the world with more depth of character and more of a sense of purpose, and kind of know, all right, this is what I'm here for. This is what I do with my life. This is what makes me tick. This is what feels good to me. This is how I give back, right? So the path gets shown to us in a certain way, just like I'm explaining some things to you now, right? But you always have to walk it yourself. So someone showed it to me and I found it all by myself. So the finding is, as you walk the path, you start to understand what teachers are saying, or any guides are saying to you in your own way, what it means for you to walk on that path, what it means for you to do personal development, to feel a sense of fulfillment, to feel empowered in your life, to feel like, I'm on my own path. So this is why I call this the genius way. The genius way is about finding your own inner compass to use walking through your life, right? And, so many people borrow the compasses, I think that's the plural, of others to try and be that. Like, I want to be more like Jesus. I want to be more like Muhammad or Krishna or whoever. I want to be more like whoever, fill in the blank, right? And the fact is, there already have been those people. We need you to be here as you, not as the part of you that is kind of sidetracked from your authentic self, but the actual authentic aspect of you that needs to be like unfurled, that needs to kind of unwind out of your genius self. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's look at this short video. When we come back, we'll dig into this topic a whole lot more.
I bet you didn't know you already have all the answers. Let's unlock them together. Someone showed it to me and I found it by myself. That's the magic of your inner genius. It's like a compass, always pointing you in the right direction. But here's the secret: you have to trust it. Your inner genius is there to help you create your own path. When you listen to it, you start to see opportunities, solutions, and dreams you didn't even know were possible. Think about it. Every great idea, every big dream started with someone trusting their inner genius. And guess what? You can do it too. So take a deep breath. Believe in yourself. Follow that inner compass. You'll discover a path that's uniquely yours. Remember, somewhere deep inside, you already have the answers. Trust your inner genius and let it guide you. Your true path is waiting. Now, go out there and start exploring. Your inner genius has got your back.
So, genius is the place where we derive our direction from, okay? To move along the path, first you need some kind of direction. And as you create your path through listening to the direction that you're going into, you move along this path and get your lessons along the way, get the things that you're supposed to learn. You get surprises, you get unexpected turns, you fail, you fall down, you get back up, you succeed. All kinds of things happen on this path. And the fact that you can't see any further than maybe one step down the path, and that there's not a clear paved way for you to see all the way down, that's purposive. That's on purpose. And one of the reasons for that is because it's calling us to be in the present moment, to not get too bogged down in the plans that we've made, or in the idea of what the path is supposed to look like, because whatever can appear on the path is going to be orders of magnitude greater than what we can imagine it to be. As we keep moving down our path, things appear to us that we never would have considered, that actually work hand in hand with the direction contained in our genius. Okay, so let's talk about this. What is the need for a path in the first place? Why does there have to be a path? Why don't we just stay put? Why don't we just stand in one spot? Why isn't it, what is your path? Why isn't it about where is your spot? Where is your one spot that you stand? Well, if you look at life in this way, we're born, we live, and then we die. There are countless quotes of teachers and masters talking about this life kind of just being a bridge from one point to another point. So if you look at just how the human, how human existence is, we can't stay. We can't stay anywhere. You were experiencing something a minute ago and it's gone. The best things in your life, the worst things in your life, they don't stay. They're all transitory. And this might sound a little depressing, but it's kind of how things are made. It's kind of how things are set up. And so to have a path means to understand I'm moving from one point to the other point. I'm moving from birth till my passing. And that connotates some kind of path, and it connotates movement. So that's the next quote I want to share with you. So in a letter to his son, Einstein wrote, maybe in the 30s, he wrote a quote that kind of goes like, life, how did he say it? Life is kind of like riding a bicycle, that in order to keep your balance, you have to keep moving. So it would be hard to balance on a bicycle if you're not moving. You would have to always be adjusting. But when you're moving, your balance is pretty much 100% easier or 99% easier than just trying to balance in one spot. So that's kind of a universal truth there that came out, through that little quote and through the practice of seeing, what the power of movement and the idea of movement through life really, what that really carries. And so again, moving from one point to another point, from birth to death, we are moving whether we like it or not. And our path, meaning the way that we move from this point to the next point, we get to choose that. We get to choose how we want to do that. And we can either choose it by forcing something to happen, trying to force something to happen, trying to, kind of like read books about it, trying to listen to other people's ideas about it, or we can develop a way of listening to our genius qualities, that, that inborn sense of self, use that for our direction, and keep moving on our path using that as our guide, right? So the idea is that we have an inner guide, and this inner guide doesn't necessarily speak through words. And, for this, I'm not really talking about an entity or, even an angel or, our deceased loved ones that are speaking to us from the other side. The guide I'm talking about is this little packet of personal qualities that each person is born with. Within that package of qualities and skills and talents, gifts within that, which we call genius, within there is a direction with which to walk this path. And in the direction, along with the direction, comes a way of living that and kind of walking along this path. Okay, so this is unique to every single person, and people's paths, even though they might cross, they may be similar. You might walk side by side with somebody. Everybody's path is unique and different, and no one can walk your path besides you. Even if your path is to help other people find their path, you're still walking your own path, and you still have to listen to your interiority in order to know how to do your path, right? So that's the thing here, is like, no matter how much help you get from other people or from other models or your faith, whatever, you're still going to be the one that has to walk it. And the more you can embrace that and use your inner genius as a guide, the better off you're going to be. So the Genius Way process is about learning to listen to that inner guide, right? And I've developed this in terms of a methodology. It's a process to learn to listen to those aspects of yourself. I do them in a set of life skills to learn and practice throughout your life, so that direction becomes more and more clear to you, and you get to kind of see it every day as part of your daily experience. So A little earlier today, I was working with a client, and this client started talking about their career path, and they were talking about wanting to, work with children, kind of like as a psychologist. Okay, and when they started talking about that, the energy in the room completely changed. They started leaning forward, their eyes opened wide. They started speaking with a sense of authority. They were excited. Their speech quickened a little bit. You know, couldn't there couldn't have been more of a shift in energy, in excitement, in interest. Okay, and so I pointed out, okay, there is one of your genius qualities there, right? So learn to pay attention to this. How do you feel when this is happening? And so they said, oh, there's a sense of excitement and interest, and I'm seeing deeply into what I'm talking about, and I feel like a doorway has opened up for me. And so, when you have something like that, when there's something really exciting to you about whether it's your career, whether it's your hobby, whether it's a person, whatever, when there is an expressive outlet for your identity, for who you are, when there is some kind of expressive outlet that you are feeling really good about, pay attention to how you're feeling at that moment. Pay attention to what that is, because when there's that much energy around it, it is part of your genius. You have landed on a part of your expressive self that you were born with, not that you developed along the way. This is what you were born with. Okay. And so one of the tasks of finding your path and expressing your genius is to be able to sense it when it's coming up, right? And to differentiate it between that and when you're kind of just showing general interest in something. Okay. Genius is not interest. It is something that you're kind of mandated from the beginning to express. And that carries with it a certain set of feelings, like I was just describing. The more you can start tuning into that when it shows up, your path, the path that we've been talking about for the whole show, your path becomes much more evident to you. It becomes more clear. You start to see different opportunities to walk that path. And then you start to see also why it is that for you, that path is important. Okay? So the Genius Way process is just for that. And there's going to be a little commercial later on for that course that I'm creating, which will be done in about a month or so. So anyway, there is a path for you. You will be unfolding it out of your own sense of self. The more that you can get in touch with your genius, the easier it is to allow this path to unfold, and the less concern you're going to have about not knowing where you're going to go next. All you need to know is, what's my next step? I take one step, that's enough for today. Tomorrow I take another step, and so on and so forth. That's how your path gets created. You do not have to see all the way down the road. Just one step. Okay, so let's take a short commercial break, and then after the commercial, we're going to do a guided visualization about finding your path, and when we come back, we'll discuss it a little bit more. Hey guys, I'm really excited to let you know that I'm finishing up my new course, the Genius Way Process course. This course is for anyone who wants to discover what's in their genius, their inborn gifts, their talents, and their callings. In this course, I'm going to provide you with the 10 life skills that we all need to access our individual genius and to make it a part of our everyday life. If you'd like to know more about the Genius Way Process course and when it's available, go to thegeniusway.com and sign up to get notified. I can't wait to share this with you. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in, and then deeply exhale. Imagine that you're walking on a path through the woods. It's a warm afternoon with a soft breeze blowing through the trees, and small shafts of sunlight are making their way through the leaves over your head. You have chosen this path because of its wide lane, unobstructed views, and most importantly, the fact that it leads north towards your destination. However, eventually the path begins to wind in sharp directions, becoming more narrow and harder to walk. And then it abruptly forks to the left and right. Now you have to make an unexpected decision. How does it feel to be standing at this decision point? You reach into your pocket and pull out your compass to reorient yourself, and you can see that the needle of the compass is pointing straight into a thick patch of woods where there is no visible path. You realize that to move in your chosen direction, you will have to create your own path. What is this realization like for you? You decide to take a step in the direction of your destination, and then another step, not knowing how you'll make it through. And after a few minutes of walking this way, you see an object through the trees ahead of you that can help you on your journey. This object would not have been visible on the other two paths. What is it that you see? How is this object helpful to you on your unique path? Spend some time with this object and notice anything you can about its significance to your path. As you continue on your uncharted journey, realize that whatever appears on the path you are making for yourself by following your inner genius compass is there to help and assist you in particular. You are meant to take this journey. You are meant to create your own unique path. And now, with this experience fully intact in your awareness, and when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into this room. So another way to think about your own path, your own unique individual path, is to see that your path has nothing to do with anyone else's. Your path is unique, and it's only you that has to get it. It's only you that has to understand it. It doesn't depend on anybody else, okay? So I want you to think about finding your path, finding your unique path through the world, through your life, as a developmental task, okay? So developmental task is something like, okay, learning how to walk, learning how to get along with others, learning how to pick a career path or, some work, learning how to, navigate relationships, okay? So there's a higher order set of developmental tasks, a higher order, when all these other tasks are kind of under your belt. And the higher order task is to see, these developmental tasks are for people who are in touch with their inner identity that has more to do with their deeper sense of self rather than their outward package, okay? And so that higher order developmental task is about knowing how to create your own path, knowing how to walk your path regardless of who is with you or not, regardless of whether you're getting acknowledgement for it or not, whether people understand it or not. The task is about, I get myself, and so that's the important aspect of this. I understand myself, right? There's a Sufi story. This this traveler comes through a small village, and he's there praying or doing whatever he's doing, and somebody comes out into the street and said, "Hey, you need to get out of here. Nobody knows you here." And the guy said, "But I know myself, so I'd hate for it to be the other way around, that everybody knows me and that I don't know who I am," right? So that's it in a nutshell. You know yourself. And what does that mean? What does that mean to know yourself? It means to know, I have an ego. I have, things that are, psychological in me. I have a physical body. I also have spirit, soul. I have a genius. I have these other deeper parts to me. Some are personal, some are impersonal. But within this whole soup of identity that I find myself in, or rather a stew of different aspects of myself, above all, I am, going through this life with a sense of kindness and, and kind of like an ability to love myself through this whole journey. And that's the path too. Like for instance, when I say you can see one step ahead of you on the path, or like no steps. Okay. Take our example, walking across a snowy field of fresh snow. There's no path in front of you. Everything's white. So you don't know whether when you take this one step that you're going in the right direction, other than listening to your genius. And when you do, you still don't know what's going to happen there, right? So the idea of knowing yourself and being kind to yourself takes that all in. Like, yeah, I might step here and fall into a hole. Okay. And maybe I need to look around the bottom of that hole and see what's in there. Maybe I'm going to find a treasure down there. Maybe there's a snake. I don't know. But one way or another, this is going to be beneficial to me in the long run. This is part of my path. Not knowing what is going to happen on the next step, but still taking that step anyway, that's everybody's story, but only a few people actually embrace that as the truth. Other people love to see 20 steps down the road, and meanwhile, that, again, that's not your path. Nobody can know that. You can pretend to know, you can plan it out, but you know what happens when you make plans in that way. They're going to change, and you're going to have to adjust. So anyway, this walking this path in this way, you need a certain amount of kindness and forbearance and gentleness with yourself. And I'm always talking about in my work with the Genius Way clients, I'm always talking about unconditional positive self-regard. That means while I'm doing this work, I am going to give myself as much leeway as possible, not to screw around, not to be, flippant or glib about it, not to be, heedless, but to be sincere, but also not throw myself under the bus, not be unkind to myself as I'm doing, this journey, which is pretty much the most difficult thing that a human being can do, is to be on their own path without any guarantee that it's going to lead anywhere, but to take that journey anyway. So whether you know it or not, you're on that path. And you can either be kind to yourself, loving, and gentle, or you can be judgmental, you can be critical of yourself, and that just makes the path a lot worse, a lot harder. Whereas listening to your genius and being kind to yourself as you're going through this kind of mystery journey, this mystery path, it makes the journey a lot more enjoyable. And you get to see more things about it too. You get to see more things about why you're doing this and what there is to learn here. So hopefully this is clear. And, hopefully this has helped a little bit about learning how to be on your own path. Okay. So let's take a commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to send you off with a few more words of inspiration, and we'll see you on the other side.
Ben Hummel's writing comes from a deep well of experience, practice, and wisdom. The Genius Way teaches you the life skills you need to find your own unique genius. Summoning Genius helps readers to turn a midlife crisis into an opportunity for personal growth. You can find Ben's books on thegeniusway.com, Amazon, and most online booksellers.
The dilemma of finding our own life path is a higher order developmental task that each of us is given to do within the scope of our life. To achieve this, we need to first find the inner compass that points toward our individual life direction. This inner compass is our genius, our storehouse of expressive energy that has something important to say and to do. Learning to listen to it is a skill that can be developed and practiced with the Genius Way process. And that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for stopping by. I enjoyed it as usual. And now here is your self-inquiry journal prompt for this week. Write about one authentic aspect of your unique life path. Okay? Write about one authentic aspect of your unique life path. All right. So friends, until next week, I want to invite you to stay curious, be kind to yourself, and remember that your genius has something to say.
Thanks for watching The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummel. Make sure to visit thegeniusway.com for the resources you need to help you on your personal life journey. You can contact Ben at ben@thegeniusway.com. And you can follow The Genius Way with Ben Hummel on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for streaming The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummel.